Welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti on a beautiful day on the Main Street Beach in Manasquan, New Jersey. Much of the show today will be about beach safety. We're talking to the head of the lifeguards in Monmouth County, and we'll be talking to Monmouth County Sheriff Shaun in just a moment. Also on today's show, a new program in Newark to make certain that every child has the resources they need to succeed. The Jersey Film Festival, it's right around the corner. We'll show you some of this year's entries. And the amazing Kreskin. Did you know he started his career right here in New Jersey? That's all to come. As you can see, there's no lifeguard on duty here at the Main Street Beach in Manasquan. That's because it's before Memorial Day. But it was about this time last year when we had beautiful weather like this that several people died in the waters off New Jersey. So what are the municipalities doing this year? I asked that question to Monmouth County Sheriff Shaun Golden on the deck of Gigi's restaurant. So we're sitting here in front of the beach on a beautiful day. It's before Memorial Day, and there's no lifeguard here. Is that a concern to you?
You know, we deal with the lifeguard issue every year in and year out here, not just in Monmouth County, but along the Jersey Shore. And, you know, it's a town-by-town initiative and town-by-town operation, if you will. And so every town varies. On a day like today, listen, the water's cold, but as we grow closer, and particularly pre-season and post-season, and post hours of operation on a daily basis, we struggle with no lifeguards on duty and people testing the waters, so to speak.
Is that the biggest problem, people going to beaches where there's no lifeguard, either before season, after season, or after hours?
That's one of the biggest problems. I mean, we had some tragic drownings last year before season. We had over a dozen last year drownings, and most of them occurred after hours, but several occurred before Memorial Day because we did have nice weather before Memorial Day, and so those lifeguards aren't on duty. You know, most towns operate from Memorial Day to Labor Day, 8 to 5 o'clock or so. Depending on which town you're in, and that's when the lifeguards are on duty. You know, there's a lot of signage. We see one here right behind us, lifeguard off duty. You know, no swimming, swim at your own risk. All of these towns have put up signage. The biggest message is, if there's no lifeguard on duty, don't test the waters. Particularly when you see rip currents, and that's the other problem we deal with, is our residents know what rip currents look like. You know, when they look at the waters and in between the waves, and they're able to identify, rip currents. It's the visitors. So visitors will come in not aware of the strong rip tides that we may encounter, and they get caught up in them.
You mentioned the drownings in last year when there was beautiful weather before Memorial Day, and some of the kids
before and after.
Right,
after Labor Day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the drownings that happened before Memorial Day, the school had let out. That was a local school. They were locals. Yeah. They weren't visitors, and so it was some teenagers that decided to go into the water and got caught up in some rip currents. From what you're saying to me now, nothing's been done since then.
Well, it's not that nothing's been done. Listen, you don't want to say business as usual, but the towns are on budgets. They have their operations. Don't forget where some of the lifeguards come from too in terms of certification. A lot of them are part-time seasonal jobs. So
college students,
yeah. So they're working or going to school elsewhere, and then they return home. So that pool of lifeguards, so to speak, we see it shrink every year, and then that's a common complaint. Same thing with our emergency medical technicians throughout the state of New Jersey. You know, we're coming up on EMS week, and we see a shrinking pool involved in public safety and in this case life safety with lifeguarding, but they're seasonal jobs, and so a lot of the town's operations have to work around those seasonal jobs. And the message in here is it's what the sign says. If there's no lifeguard on duty, you shouldn't go swimming. If there is a lifeguard on duty, you have to check the flags, and if you have a question, go up and ask the lifeguard in the chair.
Yeah, and I'm asking you some things that you don't have direct jurisdiction
listen,
over, but
as a sheriff,
you have to be there.
As a sheriff of one of the largest counties in the state of New Jersey, it's our job in the sheriff's office to work with all the municipalities to promote safety, right? And that is really what we do in terms of getting messaging out with the local police chiefs and the local fire departments, and particularly the lifeguard stations, to say, hey, these are when the lifeguards are present. This is when you should be swimming. Be careful of riptides. If you're not sure, ask the lifeguard. If you get caught in a riptide, let it pull you out. Signal that you're in distress, but let it pull you out and swim along parallel with the beach.
But
right?
So all the responsibility is on the swimmer, none is on the town, very little of it is on the town?
Listen, I think the town works with their insurance companies and their mayor and councils to put on the best kind of warning systems that they can do, and so I don't know that the onus is on the town. I mean, if it's pretty clearly labeled about lifeguards off duty, swim at your own risk or don't swim at all, it's clearly labeled.
It's got to be horrible for you and anybody to show up at a scene when a child
anytime we have a drowning, and right now we speak of just the ocean front here and the beachfront. There's so many pools and so many waterways. We have 4 major rivers in Monmouth County. I'm looking at the inlet here, the Manasquan Inlet, and then we have the Shark River and the Shrewsbury River and the Raritan Bay up there along. We have 27 miles of coastline, Larry, right. 22 towns along the coastline. And the message is consistent in all of that, particularly when we move inland. Don't swim alone. Don't dive in. Don't dive. You don't know what you're diving in. If you're diving off a jetty or you're diving off a bulkhead, you shouldn't be doing that. Wade into the water or step into the water, right? And then don't swim alone, and certainly don't leave children unattended around the pools. I mean, these are things that we stress. Water safety.
Yeah, you hit some easy things.
It's a challenge, though, Larry, when we have visitors. Like I said, when you have, we're a product of success here at the Jersey Shore. We're just about to kick off a news conference with the freeholders and the local Manasquan mayor and council and all the representatives. It's a challenge. We're a product of success when we say, hey, come to the Jersey Shore, enjoy your family time, and this is a great place to visit. And we get them from all over. Right. All over the country and the world that come to the Jersey Shore here, enjoy this beautiful scenery and beach. But it's a challenge to message safety to those visitors that really don't know any better.
Let's talk about safety, because you mentioned a couple of easy things. And I looked at the Mayo Clinic, and they said on their site that all drownings are prevented. 100% of drownings are preventable. And they listed, they had recommendations. Sure. And at the very top was everybody should learn CPR. Every single person should learn CPR. Where can people go?
This is one of those things. I mean, the obvious. You can go to the American Red Cross. They give lessons. You can go on our sheriff's office website. We'll tell you. We'll tell you where to get lessons. Your local first aid or firehouse, has a lot to offer. There's so many places where we can do CPR lessons, and the Red Cross, they've made it easy. A layperson's version of CPR, so you don't have to remember all the compression and breath ratios and all of these things. And so it has become easier to learn. It's just what you said. We don't have enough people engaged in learning that. And the defibrillators.
But it absolutely saves lives. 198,000 people saved by CPR.
No question about it. I worked
year.
as a medic for Monarch for a number of years, full-time and part-time. And we know that our biggest success rates are when the laypersons start before the first responders get there.
I'll tell you what, when I come back, we'll stick around for another segment, and we'll talk about the opioid crisis and the success that Monmouth County has had in fighting opioids. Sure. But as we go to break, we're going to put up where you can get CPR lessons in the area, and we'll be right back as Jersey Matters continues.
For a list of CPR training in your area, log on to redcross.org.